Hi everyone, it's the YY Westie from Riga. I'm here at Riga Summer Swing 2019 and my guest today is a person you probably all know, Chuck Brown.
Hey guys.
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's Riga. It's an amazing event. I've been here pretty much from the start and we had 60 people and there was no points. Now it's almost 450 people. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
The social here is amazing.
It's one of the best events of the world. Renars does an incredible job. He's meant for this type of job. He's very analytical. He's an incredible origami person. He makes everything in origami and blow your mind, seriously. I asked for a dragon as a joke and he created a dragon. Unbelievable.
Andrea from Bratislava asked, how did you fall in love with West Coast?
Oh God. So, I've always been a dancer. I started as a hip hop dancer, little break dancing when I was younger, but I went through a pretty bad breakup, a divorce actually. It was a divorce, and I didn't really have, my whole life got uprooted, of course, as it does usually, and I had a friend of mine who danced country, line dancing, and it wasn't my first partner dance that I saw, but I went to these country bars, and in the country bars back then, we always had West Coast dancers in the middle of the circle while everybody else was doing line dances and partner line dances and two-step or what have you. We'd be in the middle and we'd be doing West Coast swing. So when I first saw it, I was like, what is that? It doesn't look like Lindy Hop. It doesn't look like shag. You can do swing to this type of music. I don't know what it was, man. I just saw it for the first time, and I remember it was a guy named Mark Endo. He's a dentist in the community, and he lives in the Sacramento area. And I saw him dance, and I was like, what is that? And I signed up for lessons at a place called Dadi Lovato Studio. Dadi Lovato was a teacher is a teacher in Sacramento, California, and I just went to like 3 to 4 classes a week. I was addicted. I just love the dance. I don't know, something about it called to me. I went to my first convention, which was Monterey Swing Fest with John Wheaton. And they made me enter a contest. I did. I took, I think, 3rd or 2nd place. And I'm like, wait a second.
I've been you started.
I don't know what it was because I've always been an athlete and I love to compete in everything I do. But something about the dance and the people. It was about the people. I really love the people involved. This community is so unique with the people that we have. And that's what got me. I was lonely at the time. I didn't have anywhere to go, and this was my family. And I just became part of the family, and that's it.
I always feel like when you go to West Coast Swing event, that's it, then you're hooked. Like you went once.
I agree. Well, I always say to when I do community building, I say if you want your students to really get interested in West Coast Swing, get a van, take them to an event. Don't tell them where you're going, just come with me. We're going to go do some dancing for the weekend. Take them to the event and get them introduced to everybody, and once they're there, they'll be hooked. It's very rare that I see people not going back. Once they're there at an event, they love the community so much, and the vibe and the social dancing, it builds the community like crazy.
I heard you on the Naked Truth podcast, and you talked about having a goal as a dancer. You said that you feel like many dancers are missing a goal. So can you share what was your goal in the beginning and what is it now?
Well, basically what I said in the Naked Truth, thanks to those guys that had me on. But I always see people with these expectations of success, but there's no goal they set to get these expectations. I see that so much in my students. So I feel like what I meant by that was just you don't have to have a specific goal where I'm going to be in 5 years, 10 years, but an aspiration. Do I want to be a social dancer only? Do I want to be a competition dancer only? I knew for myself, I just wanted to meet people. I wanted to meet a lot of people. I wanted to perfect my craft as a dancer, and my goals changed. From when I first started West Coast Swing to even now, they change continuously. My goals of my business have changed dramatically over the past 20 years. But at first I say my goal was I was just like a kid in a candy store. I was new, I didn't know anybody, I just loved watching the professionals, the Marianne Nunez's, the Barry Jones, the Roberts, the Marios, Charlotte, and then of course the Kyle and Sarahs and all my friends. Like, man, I was blown away by watching this talent, and I'm like, God, I wish and then I had this aspiration. It'd be nice to be like that someday. I want to be out there like in a champion's jacket and Jill. That'd be kind of cool. And I just set my mind to it and tried to make that happen. But I think that the goal is always missing from a lot of people. They don't know what they want the success, but they don't know how. They don't know why they want the success, or they don't have the goal to do that. They just assume that I can get there just by staying in the community. But you actually can get there faster if you set a goal and then implement a plan of training or what have you to get to that goal. I see that a lot with professionals. Young professionals have this issue where they want to teach full time or they want to do this for a business, but they don't really have a goal like financially, or like they don't understand the other side of it. It's kind of interesting that these goals are not really expressed. And I think it's up to us as teachers to be mentors to, or the more of the older people in the community. For myself, like to think about mentoring people coming up. And that's what I try to do. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's it.
And when you get to being a champion, what does it mean for you to be a champion?
Look, I feel very blessed. I even consider myself a champion. I have never won any U.S. Opens, and I'm not the biggest. I've never really done the big routine circuit for 5 years, but the fact that when I came up, it was a peer vote. So the ladies would put you, the followers would put you in. And when I first got to my first champion division, I was especially the second one I did. The big one was Summer Hummer, where we vote, peer vote, and it happened at Swing Diego as well. And I got voted into the champions. Paul Warden was the other one that year that was voted in. And I thought to myself, like, I just felt, it wasn't a feeling of ego or accomplishment. It was a feeling of like awe and respect. I felt so humbled. I remember this to the day. I remember sitting there, and I had Robert Royston and John Lindo and Michael Kilbasa and Jordan and Kyle and all these like legends, and I'm like going, God, these are my idols. And the fact that the girls want me on this panel with this brilliance, I couldn't thank the girls enough for that. That was one of the biggest things that they've ever done for me. And it means more to me than any win I could ever do, any first place, anything I could do. But to have the peers vote for me to be put in that division, it was pretty emotional. I was in tears when I was just like in tears. I couldn't even, I can't explain it to you. There's a definite difference between a good competitor and a professional.
Yeah.
Competitor is somebody who does good on a competition floor and does good in routines. But to be a professional, there's way more to it. How do you make the community better? How do you affect the community in a better light? Do you influence people's life for the better? Do you mentor? Do you help? And so I've strived to take that title of champion level dancer to mean I have a responsibility both from a business perspective and a personal perspective of trying to affect people in a positive way, to help other people's goals be achieved, whether that be through helping people start events or helping people grow as dancers, helping a friend that needs help, they went through a divorce, whatever, to give them a hug. I feel like we have a role as a champion dancer not only to help an event grow, to provide workshops and shows, but we also have a higher duty to make sure that this community stays solid and healthy. I think that's up to us to make that happen.
How do you do that? How do you keep the community solid and healthy?
By doing classes like my emotion class to get people to understand the better values of why we do what we do here. And I feel like helping pros when they need help, helping students when they need help, giving back to the community. There's a lot of times when I know people can't afford a private lesson and they really want to get better, and sometimes I'll donate my time. I said, I'll go to somebody and say, hey, I know you need some work, I know you want to work, come with me. I don't have any money. It's okay, come with me. Wow. Let's work, right? I don't do that. I do that when I think somebody, and all of the pros do that. There's not one pro that doesn't do that. We always give feedback, and I feel like that's the net essence of being a professional. And it's the ability to not be as arrogant. Just because you have this title of a champion doesn't mean you need to act like an idiot. You need to act confident, you need to act humble, and you need to always remember that there's always other people looking up to you, and your job is to make their life better. They pay this money, they come here, they're in studios, they're in events. My job is to make them have the best time they can have, whether it be social dancing, teaching good workshops, giving a fun show. There's a lot to it, man. If you wanted to talk about my emotion class, you can as well, if you wanted to add that.
Yeah, we can definitely add that. That was a huge experience for me. How did you create it?
I created the story is kind of interesting. I was sitting next to Ben Kingsley on a plane.
Ben Kingsley?
Yeah, he's a famous actor, right? So I asked him a question. I said, how do you go from emotion to emotion to emotion as an actor? How do you do this? And he said, we're trained to do this. We're taught how to do it, but it has to come from inside. But you learn how to bring that out. But then he said, you should know that because dancers are always in the classes. I'm like, what? And so he goes, yeah, half the people in the classes are like dancers, so they take these classes to learn how to do it. Because as a dancer, you're an actor as well, right? So it's quite interesting. So I talked to a couple of psychologists about this, and a couple acting coaches, and then some dance stuff, and then just put it together. But the main goal of it was to deal with all this point nonsense going on. I can't stand it. I think the point system does a good job, an overall decent job of giving us some sort of thing to shoot for as far as improving our dancing. But now it's become this status mark.
Yes.
And it's not about dancing anymore, it's about self-esteem. And I just got tired of it. I'm like, I need to do something about this instead of just sitting back and letting people cry on my shoulder when they don't make finals. And I don't know, I just got tired of half of my privates were starting to be about counseling versus dancing. As a coach, that's what people come to me and it's a lot of times it's never about the dance stuff. Of course, every private you give dance technique, but I'm kind of an empath, so I look through that, and then it really has to do with their self-esteem, about their self-worth, and so they're trying to use dance on this level to give them some sort of justification for who they are as a person, and it's not good. It's dysfunctional, and I find it's gotten really bad over here in Europe. It was really bad in France a few years ago when I first came here, and then it started moving to Russia, and then it started going over to Australia. I just got tired of it. We have it in America too, but America's not as competitive in the dance world as we are. If I take a poll of the attendees who compete in the US, it's probably around maybe 60%, maybe a little less. But in Europe, I would say 90% of the people who come here to compete. So it's completely a different mentality. With that comes problems, because if not everybody can win and not everybody can make the finals.
Yes,
so
only one can win.
And even if you train like crazy and you don't make the finals, doesn't mean you're a bad dancer. It just means it was all relative based on that day. Maybe there were better dancers on the floor. Doesn't mean you're bad, but people take the rejection of not making finals as that they're a failure. Yes. And they can't do it. And that, to me, is why I created the program. And the second reason for the program is just to get people to understand that we want to let our emotions and who we are as people drive the movement of what we're trying to do, versus just memorizing blank movements. It doesn't have the effect. So I want to get people to go through a roller coaster of emotions, learn how to use that space to create movement that they want to create. And I feel like it is the best class for me. I feel like it's been something that I really wanted to do, and I'm really happy that so many people are affected. I get emails saying that it's changed people's lives for the better. And to me, as a dance pro, that means more to me than anything I can do on the competition side.
It's something that I never thought of during the dance. Like sometimes, I'm thinking about how to express the music, but how to express my emotions, what the music makes me feel, it's something that didn't really cross my mind. And that's a game changer. It's hard to describe it in words. You should just experience that, really.